Hey guys, welcome to the Talk This Way podcast. I'm your host, Matt Bishop. Here with me is Micky James. Micky, fresh off a brief little run with Joe Perry from Aerosmith, serving as a special guest on a bunch of those shows. Dude, it's great to have you, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
So, dude, like when literally like just got off the road. How was it? That must have been awesome. We were at the New York show. It was killer. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. I mean, I would say those shows are probably the best shows I've played with this project, or maybe ever as a musician. Those shows were so good. Um, the audience was really receptive, especially as a support act. They were really into it, and yeah, every show was great. I mean, the New York City show, especially Webster Hall, was kind of like a pinnacle venue for me to play as a New York native. So it was really cool to play that place, and yeah, I think that was one of my favorite shows of the tour.
Yeah, it was killer, man. And like you said, yeah, I think like the response was great. And obviously it's got to be tough. Somebody like Joe Perry, who's just the best of the best, been doing this forever. Somebody new comes out, you and Robin Taylor were on the bill. And,
Mm.
I'm sure the crowd at first is kind of like, all right, let's see what this is about. you know.
Yeah,
But obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit. They're there for a rock show, they know that. But it's like you got to get your feet wet a little bit with them. And I mean, the response was great. People were digging it, man. They were.
yeah, yeah. I think so. For those kind of shows, when you're supporting someone as legendary as Joe Perry, it's expected for the audiences to, you know, have their arms crossed and be slightly uptight. But I love that challenge as a performer. I love to kind of break that wall and to get them to to move and to be intrigued. And I think by the end of every set, I think people responded really well. Like you said, yeah, they're there for rock and roll, and I think if you put on a good rock and roll show, they'll dig it, which I think they did.
Yeah, for sure. And there is no time to think about it either when you come out on
No.
stage, bro. you, you came out full throttle right out of the gate. And it was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. You got to get on this trainer or not at all. So,
Exactly. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Especially for this tour, I think and putting together the set list, I think it was kind of like a 1-2 punch. You have to go out there and just explode and capture them as fast as you can. So yeah, I was pleased with our set list and kind of how things went over with the crowd.
nice, man. But I mean, and the biggest thing is like if you were feeling good about it and you were having fun, I mean, that's the biggest thing right there. And that's going to translate. And it did.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm glad it did. Thank you.
Yeah. So you said, the Webster Hall show was big for you because you're a New York native. But I saw in your
Yes.
bio, Philly is mentioned in there.
Yeah, so I was born in New Jersey. I lived there most of my life.
Okay.
And I lived right outside of Philly for a couple years. I live in Brooklyn right now. But I got my start really in New York City, in my early 20s. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of my home city. You know, I was playing in Philly quite a bit. Like kind of right after the pandemic, I was living right outside of Philly, so it was kind of trying to like, you know, trying to build something there as well because there's a great alternative rock scene in Philly. There always has
Hmm.
been. And I kind of wanted to get away from New York City for a sec, but now I'm back to this area, and I kind of always call this place my home.
All right. I mean, so I'm a Philly guy. I'm a little
Nice.
bummed that we can't like fully claim you, but I mean,
For a second, you
at
kind of
least,
did, but
yeah, we have a little piece of you. So I'll take
yes,
it.
cool.
What venues were you playing in Philly, dude?
We played. I mean, I've played Milk Boy a bunch.
Oh, Milk Boy's killer.
Um, yeah, it's such a great little club. Milk Boy, the Foundry at the Fillmore. Um, forgetting. I feel like we've just like rotated playing those places a bit. Um,
Do you get into
yeah, and
Dobbs
then
at all?
no, I
No.
know about that place.
Hmm.
But no, I haven't played there. I think Kung Fu Necktie like a long time ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I like the cool little rock clubs. And then during the pandemic, we were able to shoot like a live concert in the Met, which was amazing. I mean, that venue is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, that
So I
place
mean,
is
I guess like
gorgeous.
I've played there, but not really played there. I didn't actually play a real show there. We just shot a show there. Um, but maybe one day I'll play a real show there.
There we go. Sky's the limit, dude. Why the hell
Exactly.
not?
Got to manifest it.
Oh yeah. So, you open for Joe Perry, and it's interesting because, I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I was photographing the set, and one of the things that came to mind was, you know, this guy's like kind of like Steven Tyler a little bit. And obviously some other names floated through my head, Bowie, Mick Jagger. Um, is that like a cool thing for you to hear? Or does it make you kind of feel like you're kind of like put in a box? How do you what are your thoughts on that when you get like compared to, some of the greats from yesteryear?
That's interesting you say put in a box. N no, I mean, when people compare you to people like Mick Jagger and David Bowie, I mean, I think that's the highest compliment you can get. I mean, I think they're still one of the greatest performers ever. Um, you know, I think that's always going to come when you're a charismatic front man and you're playing rock music. I think you're always going to be you're going to be compared to those those kind of performers, but they're the best. I still think they're the best performers, and I want to be one of the best performers. So I take it as a good thing. I take it as a great thing. I think over time you'll fall into your own pocket, and then you kind of will create your own identity. But at first, people can't help but compare you to other people, and I'll accept that. And I think I'm flattered every time people compare me to them.
Yeah, I think, it's all about it's very cool to sound vintage, and I think there was an era, there was like a 20-year stretch, man, that will just it was inventive and it will never be fully, duplicated, and it's
For
just
sure.
all about putting your own, contemporary spin on it. And
That's right.
I
Yeah.
think you're doing that as well. And as long as you keep doing that, and it's not just kind of this, cardboard cutout copy, um, you definitely have like your own identity up there. When I was up there, I wasn't like, oh man, he's doing Bowie. It wasn't like that. It was just like, ooh, I see like hints of this guy and that guy and stuff. But you're the sound is contemporary still. You're making it your own. You're just kind of drawing on, some influences. And I think, everybody does that. I mean, there's like a list of 5 artists maybe in history that you could say they just totally invented it. They totally,
Yeah.
invented it. I mean, everybody else, I mean, they're just making it their own, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you recognize that I am making it my own. And yeah, like I want people to see where I'm drawing from, but you know, my music isn't really too like derivative of that sound. I mean, I think there's moments, but I think it's pretty contemporary, and I think the only way to push the boundaries and evolve in rock music is to try and make it your own, take from the past and and put it in a pot, stir it up, and see what happens. But yeah, I'm glad you recognize that it's not too much of that of coming from the past.
Yeah, for sure, man. Um, so you got a new single out, Girl Talk, just dropped.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I know it's kind of hard to think about. Are we looking at like, an album coming out like later this year or maybe early next? Or are we just kind of focusing on the now and, getting some songs out there and hitting the road?
Well, I'm putting out an EP at I think the top of the summer or midsummer. So I've been kind of dropping all the songs off of the EP, or I'm going to drop the rest of the songs off the EP before it actually comes out. And obviously, Girl Talk's on it, New York Minute, James Brown, the two previous songs that I put out, and then two more coming after Girl Talk.
Sweet.
But yeah, I've just been kind of every month just dropping a new song, and then eventually the body of work will come out by the summer.
Very cool. Any any tour plans? Are you hitting the road by yourself or with anybody in spring, summer? Well, I mean, we're pretty much in the thick of spring, but
Yeah, I mean, as of now, I'm doing some New York shows. I have a Brooklyn show. I've yet to announce, but I can announce it on here. It's I'm playing the Sultan Room, May 23rd, and then should have a fall tour. Um, but in the meantime, while I'm promoting these singles, I'm gonna be kind of playing regionally. I'm sure I'll do a Philly date, but definitely New York
nice.
City.
Very cool. Well, dude, thanks so much for stopping by to hang. I really appreciate it. It was
Absolutely,
cool to
man.
see you. It was really exciting. I got an email from your publicist, Rachel, and she was just kind of, putting out like her general press release, like, hey, Micky James, new single. Would you like to, do a review, maybe chat with him? And he's, playing with Joe Perry. And I was like, we're going to the show in 3 days. This is perfect. It was
Oh,
beautiful.
perfect timing.
So yeah, I actually like shot her an email as soon as you were done. I was like, Rachel, we just saw Micky. Awesome show. Let's get him on the podcast. She was like, cool, we'll make it happen. Hit me up. Yeah, she sent me the set list and everything for the review.
Dude,
So yeah, it was great.
so sick. I'm
Yeah.
glad you enjoyed the show, and yeah, that's perfect timing. And thank you for having me on this.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Micky James, ladies and gentlemen. We got at least one show coming up in May in Brooklyn. We'll have a link down there for you guys when it goes live for tickets and all that good stuff. And the new single, Girl Talk, is streaming right now, fresh off the road with Joe Perry. And the single is hot off the presses. You're rocking and rolling. You're on fire. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely, my dude. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks. See ya.